that says it is okay for people to push for allegiance to a foreign country.
Yeah, maybe allegiance to a country that historically has been our very best ally in the Middle East. My goodness, this woman is so far out in left field and so anti-American and anti-Jewish that they now have to draft a resolution to condemn her horrific and heinous comments. I've got some advice. Forget the resolution. I mean, it's all fine and well. But what you really need to do right now is to kick her off the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Joining me right now with his thoughts, presidential historian Doug Wead. What do you make of her? Good to see you, by the way. I don't usually get to see you in the House, so welcome. Thank you for being in New York.
Thank you for having me here. Well, I just, all I can say is that the Democrats, this anti-Semitism has been boiling for some time in the Democrat Party, and for it to now come out so openly, they've got to watch out. Once they lose the support of the Jewish people, they'll have a long road back to get it. I look at the Republican Party. They were the party of Lincoln. They were the party that supported African Americans. Eisenhower sent troops into Little Rock. And then they had that flip in 1964. They made their deal with Southern segregationists who were Southern Democrats, really. And now you could say the Republican Party's a great party for African Americans. They're getting jobs, justice reform from the Republicans. But it's a long road back, having lost them. And that's what I wonder for the Democrat Party.
And the Democrats do not want to relinquish African Americans to the Republican Party at all. I mean, you look at Candace Owens and her efforts, and this movement you're seeing within the black community where they're saying, hey, wait a second, you know, we were Democrats for so long, and where did it really get us? Where did it get our communities? Because I'll tell you, the economy matters, and a lot of this, in terms of race relations, and I'm not saying that or downplaying any of the racism that still exists in society today. It is out there. But if you can provide people with economic opportunity, you've provided them with so much. And sometimes I worry the policies of the Democratic Party have kept communities down, Doug, as opposed to lifting them up. And they keep them dependent, so you keep going back and voting in hopes of maybe getting a little something. But what if someone came along and said, that little something is not good enough? You deserve it all. Go for it. And empowers you to do so.
Right, right. And
then you lose the African-American community and other minority communities to the Republican Party and to Donald Trump.
Right. And my point is the Democrats cannot allow this anti-Semitism to just go on and on and on, or they're going to find themselves in a similar situation.
But see, they're trying to say that the president is anti-Semitic. I mean, which, you know, look, I would argue that this president has stood with Israel in a much bigger way, certainly, than the previous president. But that's their talking point, and they, you know, equate him to, and you and I have talked about this before, Adolf Hitler in tremendously heinous ways. And that, you know, my goodness, this was a despicable man who killed millions of people, and yet they seem to think it's okay to talk about Donald Trump and Adolf Hitler in the same breath. It's just
so ridiculous. I mean, not only his son-in-law is Jewish and his daughter is Jewish, his Secretary of Treasury is Jewish, his chief economic advisor was Jewish, the director of his economic council was Jewish. It's the most ridiculous thing, and the first president to finally keep the promise that he made in the campaign by moving America's embassy to Jerusalem. I think the American people can see that's a totally phony charge.
So what should they do about Representative Ilhan Omar? Does she belong on that committee? Does she belong getting sensitive information about world events? Given that she, I think, certainly has expressed over and over again her real lack of empathy for the United States' position.
I'm not going to give the Democrat Party advice on it, but I'm just telling you, they cannot continue to push the envelope on this anti-Semitism. They can't do it. They've got to make up their mind. And if they're going to support the United States, they have to support America's allies. Yeah. And Israel is our staunchest ally.
Yeah. Well, we'll see where this goes. But I think that she's not doing them any favors, that's for sure. And the sooner Nancy Pelosi realizes that, the better.
That's
good
true.
To see you.
Good
Thank
to see
you so
too.
much. All right, coming up, everyone, Socialist Darling.